Fixed an issue where the Survivor perk prevented players from reviving downed squad members. That is why we couldn't res our teammates.
Well, we have a patch note in chat. I just played Rebirth and I could not get revived or revive.
Did your teammate happen to have the Survivor perk?
Very cool. I cannot wait to see how many of these are just complete lies in about 48 hours. Yeah. I can't wait. I'm so excited to see that list.
We are live. Ambush. Surprise. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot Call of Duty Podcast, ep number 493. My name is Casey, aka Razinon. I'm joined by Tanner, Dropshot. And the moment has come, finally.
Is it?
Today is season 2. It is 10:19 a.m. Mountainous time. The update has just gone live. We have not played it, obviously. It literally just went live. But we have the patch notes for the season, and we will now go over them. I'm going to dive right in. We will have some announcements at the end of the program, so stick around for those. We have some interesting announcements. But, yeah, it's time-stamped. So we're going to dive right into this. We got a lot of patch notes, by the way. Pretty much all we're going to go over today. There could have been some other stuff we otherwise would have talked about, but we're not going to today because there, as I just said, are a lot of patch notes. So they have set this up once again into multiplayer and Warzone on 2 separate documents. We're going to go through the multiplayer first, as usual. However, we are going to ultra skim this.
We're gonna skim it. Yeah, holy
this
fuck,
is going to be
skim it.
Ultra skim, because usually we end up going through these and like talking about the weapons and what's changed, like, oh, they, you know, increase reload speed by 20%, and then it's just going to say the same thing in Warzone. So we're going to just save it all for the Warzone section. That's mostly what we focus on here, but we will. And also, we already know a lot of this already from the season 2 roadmap / blog post we had covered last week. So this is going to be a giga skim, and then we'll get more inside the guts of the Warzone section. So here we go. Welcome to season 2, they say. And then they write a lot of big and intimidating words. So here's another look at the roadmap.
Oh yeah.
Here are the new multiplayer maps, which I will be skimming. The new weapons, new attachments.
Oh my god, we're skimming it. Yeah, wow.
New multiplayer perks. Again, Slipstream, which raises your base sprint speed at the cost of removing tack sprint. Yeah, we've already gone over all of this. The Tomb map is now live as well, which is cool. I will at some point play that. New ops, bunch of other stuff, bunch of other words, big and intimidating ones. A big lie in the Ricochet section that I, of course, won't be reading.
Oh wow, yeah.
Some other thing, challenge tracker and near completion stuff. We had talked about that. This is kind of interesting. Players can now equip any unlocked special camo to a weapon as soon as they've unlocked any 5 military camos for that weapon. Prior, players needed to unlock all 9 military camos for at least one mode to equip special camos. So this is cool. So you only need whatever it is, 30 headshots instead of the 100, for example, for multiplayer to equip a special camo, like a universal camo. That's a cool change. That also applies to Warzone. Some other stuff, multiplayer, words, which is cool. I love words. They go into weapon balance. I'm Omega not reading these, of course. Yep, lots of words. A lot of weapon balance, by the way, which is kind of cool. You love to see that.
And we'll get into that in Warzone, of course. We'll
talk in Warzone, we'll get granular on that for some of them anyway. But yeah. Some other changes, some challenges.
Got a lot of weapon balance.
A lot of stuff here. Like if you're a multiplayer main, you should probably go over this yourself. In either case, we wouldn't be reading you all of this. It would take 5 hours. But just kind of skimming through it. Spawn logic has been adjusted to continue their efforts to reduce proximity to enemies while respawning. That's good. The new LTMs are in. That's cool. And let's see. Yeah, this is interesting. Decrease the amount of weapon motion when jumping, sliding, and diving with the dexterity perk. That perk is also in Warzone, but it's been removed. In multiplayer, it has not. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind for you. And that's kind of cool, because I don't think they had said that in the roadmap. This is interesting. We're continuing to monitor Omni movement feedback. And of course, playing the game ourselves. No, you're not. Shut up. You're playing Plunder, maybe. One dev is playing Plunder. That's the only confirmation that I've gotten that any dev plays the game, so I'm annoyed. We are currently testing slight reductions to initial slide speed and duration to improve predictability of engagements when opponents enter with a slide. That's kind of interesting. Probably fine. Curious if this is going to Warzone as well. Additionally, we're always evaluating areas for improved fluidity, and they write some more words. Reduce collision with teammates, I've talked about that. And then ranked play crossplay. PlayStation for ranked, you can now turn on or off crossplay. So that's cool. And then Xbox, the same thing. It's probably not cool for me, but whatever.
Ranked just became much more unplayable. Yeah, for us.
For us, yeah.
I mean,
because there are fewer shitters and more cheaters.
Yeah,
by proportion.
It's gonna be really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ranked is. I was already checking on some streams to see how the game's looking, and Swag. Who else did I click on? Couple other people. They're already on console right now, getting ready for ranked play.
Really?
Yep. Swag, Joe, a couple.
That's wild. That's diabolical.
It's gonna be weird too, because it's just something like Huskers or some guy had brought up a long time ago too. It's like you almost need to have two separate leaderboards, because now the top 250, the people in the top 10 are all just going to be console players, because they don't have to go up against console nearly as many cheaters. Yeah. And it's just, it sucks, but they can't get a grip on their anti-cheat, so I get it. Yeah,
I mean, yeah. I don't feel too strongly about it either way.
Yeah, I don't either.
But we had made that point, like, the leaderboard just doesn't make sense if one section of it can just not compete with, like, a bunch of other people and experience fewer cheaters. That's a massive unfair advantage. Like, it's crazy, but whatever. Anyway, at the start of ranked play and multiplayer for Season 2, the new PPSH and Cypher 091 AR will both be unrestricted for a minimum of 1 week. They had started doing this last year, which I like. What will happen, though, is these are immediately going to be GA'd in the CDL. So then after 1 week, they're going to remove them from ranked online multiplayer, because all of the ranked play ladder nerds love to pretend LARP that they are in the CDL. So they want the rule set to not only mirror the official CDL rule set, but also the GA'd portion is more strictly enforced online, actually, than it is in the league. So, you know, if they're really good, abuse them while they are, climb some SR, I guess. Until you hit, well, in my experience, Bronze 2. And then start to see cheaters in ranked multiplayer. Good luck.
Wow. Yeah.
So anyway, we saw 1 in 5 games, to be fair. Anyway, Season 2 rank setback, blah, blah, blah. Some more words that are big and intimidating. Adjustments to SR gain and loss. So that's cool. Zombies. A bunch of changes to Citadel, which is good for them. And some to Liberty Falls and Terminus. Some other things. And then, of course, we got the new map and the new stuff that comes with that. So, like the new Wonder Weapon, the new lore, the new mode, directed mode, and the new perk as well, or perks, Depth perception for sure. I don't know if there's the other one as well. And then that's pretty much it there. So multiplayer got a very standard amount of content for a new season. We got new weapons, new zombies map, actually more than standard, I would say, because the new zombies map's a lot.
Yeah.
And then, you know, new ranked season, new multiplayer maps, and then a bunch of weapon balance. So good stuff there. But now we're going to get into the Warzone patch notes for season 2. This was posted yesterday, and we're going to get a lot more detailed here. As a reminder, Raven Software on December 23rd tweeted, many of the changes we're about to read now would have come actually shortly after the holidays. So no matter how good the patch notes are, and no matter how well implemented they are, they still lied to you. So unless your definition of shortly after is going into a second calendar year and then making the changes, cool. So that I'm already bugged, but that's fine. Let's get into the patch notes. So Monday, January 27th, roadmap. They write words about Ricochet anti-cheat. As I said, I'm not reading them. It doesn't matter. If they're, here's what I care about with Ricochet anti-cheat. Do I see fewer cheaters consistently or not? So if I stop seeing cheaters for a while, we will absolutely let you guys know. But until then, I don't care what they have to say about it.
Yeah, we'll report back in about 2 weeks with our actual findings on that.
Correct, yes. And by the way, I have read this beforehand. So normally I don't like to do that, but I couldn't help myself for Warzone. So I've already read all of this. Part of the reason why I'm not going to read you guys, I'm not going to waste your time or mine reading this drivel. So anyway, there are some events. The Terminator Skull Drop event, February 6th to the 20th, which is my date of birth, by the way. You collect skulls on the ground. So that isn't great, but whatever. And then from the 13th to the 20th, so there are going to be 2 overlapping events, is Shadow Hunt, where you complete challenges to unlock some of the new stuff. Cool. Okay, so progression and prestige. These are like kind of bug fixes. They're not super important ones either, so I'm not going to read them. But basically, there were a lot of issues trying to enter prestige or like hit a new prestige, or when you were a prestige master, a bunch of weird buggy screens like, oh, enter prestige 18. Hey, that doesn't exist. Yeah. And then you hold the button and then your game crashes. That I did that because I'm an idiot. But they say they fixed that and some other things. They may or may not have. Again, the camo thing, you only have to unlock 5 camos to attach a special camo. Some other things with social, doesn't really matter. Warzone maps. Okay, here we go. So now into the good stuff. Urzikstan. Buy station locations have been updated. Okay, W. That is one way Tanner and I have talked about it's very high ROI. I can't imagine it's much dev time to just change where buy stations are. So it's very easy to do, but it changes how the game plays and feels a lot. So this is good. They are going to remain static, but they're going to be in different spots than they were yesterday. Will the spots be good? And will there be enough? Don't know yet, but I like this idea. Cool. Gulag loadouts finally have been refreshed with new weapons and equipment. That's a verbatim quote based. Thank God. Yeah. I am happy to see that. I would love to never see an AK again in this game. So,
wonder if they added lighting into the Gulag.
Unfortunately, I don't think they have, but that would have been even better, actually.
Turn on the lights in the Gulag, yeah.
And then the train automatic brake release timer has increased to 240 seconds, up from 60. Okay. So when you used to like stop the train, it would only stay stopped for a minute, and then it would start going again. And
I actually like this. There were a lot of times where you'd stop it, you'd get in a full-blown fight, try to loot people, and the train would leave without you. That was too fast, actually. This makes sense. Kind of.
I agree.
I mean, I'm completely shocked they even thought of doing anything like this. but got it, especially when we had this map for an entire year and a half already now.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that, actually. I have had that thought before. I want to be annoyed, but they've actually done... I'm so sorry. They've actually said they've done a lot this patch, so I'm not annoyed, because you would want this change eventually. Anyway, Area 99. 2 additional buy stations have been added. Okay. Map sucks. Some playlist things, whatever. Ranked play. So, first of all, they write a lot. I'm gonna kind of give you the highlights here. The crossplay thing for ranked is also available in Warzone. So on PlayStation or Xbox, you can turn off crossplay. You will see fewer cheaters. You will not see 0. But you can do that. Tracker is now usable again in ranked because it now functions differently. The tracker perk no longer live pings players and instead applies an outline to enemy players that is not visible through walls. In addition, fixes to cold-blooded now allows the footsteps to be appropriately countered. Here's the first instance of me having a couple of questions, okay? Number 1, so trackers now, instead of live pinging, it's gonna, outline them, but it won't show through walls. Will it show through smoke?
Yes. It
Sounds
talks
like
all
yes.
about it later.
Oh, okay.
It's tracker's almost better even now, actually. We'll go through it later.
Okay.
It's different.
Okay, so we'll go through that portion later. But in addition, cold-blooded now allow the footsteps to be appropriately countered, meaning if I am running cold-blooded and someone with tracker sees where I just was running, the footsteps won't appear. Okay. Is that all cold-blooded does? So if I have cold-blooded and I'm in a smoke and someone with tracker shoots me, will me having cold-blooded also counter the only fucking relevant part of tracker, which is the outline? Or does it only counter the fucking footsteps showing up that I don't give a shit about?
Yeah, I think it's just the footsteps, which is crazy.
Insane. And once again, Activision devs do not play their own game. Is this the biggest deal in the world? No, because I'm probably not running cold-blooded even if it functions as it should.
Exactly, yeah.
But the principle of it bothers me. And for specialists, it also makes it worse. But whatever. And it makes tracker better also. So we'll talk more about that. The skill rating things have been changed. We're not going to read these numbers to you. But essentially, the SR you get for an elimination, depending on your rank being different than the other person, you're going to gain more on average. However, deployment fees are going to cost more on average. That's the TLDR. And they write more about it, and I'll read that to you guys. But they write a ton of words about setting up these numbers. And honestly, the last problem with ranked Warzone was the precise amount of SR people were gaining from kills or spending on deployment fees. They were pretty close before this update. They haven't changed anything majorly, so this is probably pretty close to good still. The problems were other things, which they say they've addressed, so that's good. And we'll talk more about those as we get there. But yeah, so anyway. Yeah, they write a lot of words. What?
I have swag pulled up on my side monitor to watch. By the way, rebirth lighting does look better. It might be this monitor that I have him on because that one's more vibrant, but the rebirth lighting looks a lot better. But he just died to the classic bug where you still can't get through a window in this game after 5 fucking years. He's just trying to get through the window and his character's like not going through it. And then he takes his headset off and slams his hand down like 5 times.
He's such a god.
It's
I love
so
swag.
funny.
That's a controller issue. There's a setting now to fix that, actually.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. All the old heads don't use it. I don't know why I said old heads. Because
I don't know, man.
It's a brand new setting. Like, it wasn't even in the game, I don't think, last year. But it's like, yeah, I forget. It's like a mantle interrupt reload. You can turn that off And then you can use partial grounded mantle, because the only reason you didn't want that before is because it would interrupt your reload. So now you'll mantle through it pretty reliably now with that setting to partial. Unless you're reloading, that's the only time you wouldn't want to jump through the window. But now that it won't interrupt it, it's fine. So yeah, but I mean, people aren't going to poke through their settings if they're all set up. So I understand why that happens. But anyway, yeah. So they give you deployment fee specifics, whatever. See, this is what I wanted to read you guys. We aim to make accessing certain divisions less frustrating by reducing barriers and smoothing out the progression experience. Reaching iridescent will become slightly more challenging, partially offset by the SR changes, due to increased deployment fees requiring more effort from players to maintain their position in this elite rank. This is the crazy part. For reference, less than 0.1% of players achieve iridescent or crimson status. That's shocking to me. 0.1% of players being eerie, I get that, sounds about right. But crimson is 0.1%? That's like almost unbelievable, actually.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd point that out.
It is crazy until you think about this is obviously taking into account anyone that's ever queued for one game of ranked.
That's
and
true,
just
yeah.
never played again after. When you think if it's like active players that play, you know, X amount of hours per week, that would be insane.
Like at least 20 games or something. Yeah. Then it's probably better. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I was going to say they need to make it easier, but if those are accurate percentages, but you're right. If this includes people that have queued for like 1 to 5 games ever, then the numbers are probably fine. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the lower division has less deployment fee, but as you get higher, it ramps up a little more. So overall, it's going to be more expensive to get to iridescent in terms of deployment fees, but getting to like gold's going to be less expensive, so easier. That's basically the TLDR. Then they go over the rewards. Cool. And then general. Here we go. All buy stations, including deployable buy stations and standard buy stations, will now close at the beginning of the final circle announcement. This has gotten probably the most hubbub on my Twitter timeline.
It has, yeah. And it's not something that I thought would, but it gets a lot of it actually.
Yes. And then I'm just going to read all of this. The next update, deployable boxes. So utility boxes, munis, armor boxes, and utility boxes can no longer be placed in the gas. Pretty crazy change there too. And here's what they say about it. We've noticed an increase in buybacks during the final circle, sometimes even after the gas has completely consumed the map. In my experience, this is by far the worst on Rebirth, by the way. I will lose like actually 5 to 10% of games I would have otherwise won because there's some guy in chem and I'm at prison who's like doing gas play shit like this. But anyway, while we appreciate resourceful plays, the tactic of a team camping a buy to secure a win does not align with our vision for last team standing wins. I agree. That thought, I agree with.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. To address this, we're making changes to encourage more meaningful and intense engagements in the final moments, the way we believe most matches are meant to end. Okay, so far so good. We remain committed to identifying and addressing other cheese strategies in the game. Regardless of how long a mechanic has been around, we're dedicated to refining systems to enhance the game's competitive integrity. Okay, well said. I agree with all of that. Is what they've changed a good way to remove cheese strategies? Let's go one by one. All buys close at the beginning of the final circle announcement. Okay. I think I'm fine with this because the final circle announcement means the zone isn't moving anymore. It goes from the tiny assed circle that you usually don't get to. The match is usually over before this, by the way.
It's usually over by this point.
Yeah. It's the final circle, and then it starts closing, and then 5 seconds later, the whole map is gas. That's fine. This is fine. People getting really mad about this, I don't really understand. Like, you know, Hisoka was like the best one at this, whatever, throw a PDS on a Bertha, drive 8 kilometers somewhere, and then open another buy, whatever the fuck, which didn't work anyway, by the way. So we'll get into that. This is very much late enough for accomplishing what they want without hampering the ability to buy back your teammates very fucking late. Because again, I'm not kidding. If you're talking like custom lobbies of like pros, this is a different stat. But for pubs and probably even ranked ladder, literally 80+% of games are already over before the final circle announcement even happens. Yeah. It's a tiny fucking area. So I don't think this is that. I think this is a good idea, actually. I think this is a good change.
Yeah, I think overall it's good, and then also it's not going to affect your actual matches that often at all. Yeah, I mean, so the buy station's closing at the beginning of the final circle announcement. I don't know if I ever in Warzone, I can't confirm, bought somebody back from a buy station after it said final circle. Anyways.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm dead serious. I've maybe never even done that. So ultimately, this almost doesn't matter. I think a lot of people were getting upset about this because when I first read it too, I'm thinking like 6th, 7th, or like 6th circle, something like that. I'm thinking like the Giga Dad plays, or he keeps buying gas masks. That's not final circle at all. That's like still 2 circles from final circle. So
exactly,
this is not going to affect your matches almost ever.
I agree. And there's a reason they did this, by the way. We'll get into it, but they have re-enabled the ability to throw a PDS on a buy, and it actually opens. I made a big stink about that a couple weeks ago. That is now possible again. So the reason they're doing this is like, that's a cool play, but you can't do it ultra late and just win the game by cheesing. I think this is smart. I like this change. The next one, however, I'm not sure I like. So you can't throw munis and armor boxes or utility boxes in the gas. I hate this, actually.
I don't like this.
I hope that helps.
This one I don't like for me at all. Yeah, because I just want to throw like plates down. The issue is people were throwing down munis and utility boxes to get things like stims and stay alive longer.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but again, they're making like a drastic change to something that most players don't ever do. And you just don't see often at all in a match, but you do
see it again.
Like you don't see people go on to win games like just doing this numerous times and stimming. That's more what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometimes. It happens, I think, often enough to where it should be addressed. This is just not the way to address it, though, because there are so many times early game, the first rotate, where I am going to have to be in the gas and I'm out of plates or I'm out of stims and I want to throw a box to get more, not to gas play in the 2nd circle, obviously, but to stay behind this rock where I'm getting held so that I can get more plates or get stims so I can stim shot or smoke whatever into the zone and keep rotating. So now I'm not going to be able to do that ever. This is going to be ultra cringe and tilting. And yes, I see what they're trying to address, which is like the people, like you said, throwing down a muni, banging 4 stims, hitting the muni, banging another 4. I get that, but they are throwing the baby out with the bathwater, including the bathwater. And what they should do instead is have like, again, like the final circle announcement, do the same thing. When the final circle announcement happens, stim shots will no longer work at all in the gas. Problem solved, but now I can still throw boxes mid-game in the gas when I need them. Easy. So easy. From a coding perspective, I don't know if that's easy.
They would never be able to do that correctly.
But I'm probably not. But that would be a better solution if possible, or a million other things. This they could probably do. Your health can no longer regenerate in the gas at all after the final circle announcement. That would make stims ineffective. So you'd still be able to bang them, but your like character wouldn't health. I think that from a dev perspective could work. That would solve the issue they're trying to solve and not have a ton of collateral damage like this does.
Yeah.
So I kind of hate this. I think, in fact, people are going to dislike it so much it gets reverted. Honestly. Well, these devs don't care about what player feedback, so maybe not. But people are going to hate this for sure. I think this is bad.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's kind of where I'm at. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I could be wrong, but I kind of doubt it. So anyway, this I was confused about. Added a new splat score event in BR, which triggers when a player is eliminated while parachuting or skydiving. I don't know what that means. Is it just like a new medal? Is that what they're trying to say? You get a new medal? That has to be what it means, right?
I guess you get more score for something. I don't.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever.
That's an okay.
Yeah, it's an okay. And then you get more XP for BR than you used to. They changed it for Resurgence and Plunder as well, whatever. Quality of life highlights. Here we go. Advanced UAVs now display elevation arrows to indicate player altitude. This was in the community update. Obviously, it's a good thing. It may or may not actually work, but this is a good idea. So, and I also wonder if this is going to include people who have bird's eye. Because it's not an advanced UAV when you pop bird's eye, or when you have that perk and you pop a regular UAV. So if I pop a regular UAV with bird's eye perk, or with the specialist perk, which would include bird's eye, will I get elevation markers? Probably not.
Probably not.
Activision devs do not play their own games, so they didn't think of that. If it doesn't, hopefully they fix that as well. But I don't know. Let's see. Ammo cache depots now function like munis, dropping additional ammo and equipment on the ground. So if you're already full on ammo, you can still hit the thing now, and it'll drop just a ton of ammo on the ground. Very good. Very good quality of life change.
I don't understand. Like, why
buyback.
I don't understand why this would even be a good thing or a bad thing. It kind of just seems, I guess, unnecessary. Because it's like you can hit it again 60 seconds later anyways. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Almost seems like it's just going to lead to like more lethal spam in certain areas, like say fighting at Control Center on Rebirth.
Yeah, you're kind of right, actually.
Hit it, and then it's just more lethals on the ground. I can throw two, pick up the ones that dropped on the ground. I don't know. It just seems worse, actually.
Yeah, I actually might agree with you.
I understand this one. But
I was going to say it'd be good if I'm already full on ammo and I want to give you some, but in that case, you're also right next to the ammo cache to pick it up, so you could just hit it yourself.
And then there's also going to be hundreds of rounds of ammo on the ground, so...
Yeah, that is weird.
The same thing. Don't get this at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's a big deal either way, but you are kind of right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, you can ping buyback flares now. Okay. New stats have been added to the detailed weapon stats, and the layout has been redesigned to prioritize data clarity and accessibility. Some stats adjusted by attachments were not represented. The new stats better reflect reality. The new stats should perfectly reflect reality, but better is a start. This is why no one ever trusts the gunsmith, and we always use third-party websites to tell us what's actually happening. Because this is an admission that for the last 2 months, right? Your detailed gunsmith stats, pretty fancy screen. There's a fucking guy on it, little hitboxes. It wasn't accurate. Didn't reflect reality. So Will it now? It'll better reflect reality, is what they say. We'll see. And then, yeah, some other things. So body shield's back, but you don't get walls with it anymore. So it's fine. Jumping. Increased both jump speed and successive jump height with one unmodified successive jump. I still don't know what that means exactly, but I'm going to read. There's a blurb now that was not in the community update. We are reverting some jump penalties to the values used last year. This marks the first step in our jump evaluation, and we'll revisit this topic again in the future. So this tells us more about what we can expect, because last year, bee hopping was better than it was yesterday. But last year, bunny hopping was worse than it was in MW19. So when we originally read this, we didn't really know by how much better the increased jump speed and height were. Now we know exactly, because they said they reverted it to precisely what it was last year. Was bee hopping amazing last year? I don't remember it being amazing, but better than it is now, than it was yesterday. So I'll take it, but I might like more. We'll see. The parachute thing, you can cut your parachute faster and you have more velocity when you land. So we talked about that in the community update. And then perks is the next section. There's the new reactive armor perk in slot 2. So this would be replacing quick fix or restock. Your armor will regenerate up to 50% if you have not taken damage in the last 5 seconds. Don't ever run this. We've gone over that. And now here's the tracker thing. So tracker adjustments. Pings have been replaced with an outline that is not visible through walls, but will still appear on targets through smoke. Okay, there's the confirmation, yeah. So it's still going to be insane.
It's better, because now you see the whole outline through smoke.
Yeah. And
read the second part.
Tracker can now mark up to 5 targets. By the way, the max team size in Warzone is 4. So keep that in mind. Successively. Or simultaneously, excuse me. Engaging a 6th target will remove the outline from the first target. I think this is going to be fucking buggy, by the way. But we'll see. And here's what they say about it. Tracker, spy camera, and prox alarm have been adjusted to balance their usage. These changes address the over-reliance on Intel systems that provide vision through walls. By scaling this back, we aim to align these mechanics with systems like UAVs while offering additional visual feedback. Our goal is to make highlight interactions more consistent, grounded, and balanced across engagements. This actually is just better than before. Yeah. Because what you're losing is the live pings through walls. So you won't be able to like randomly spray at a building that you know someone's in, get your first live ping, and then just keep torching until you've downed them. However, they've nerfed bullet penetration anyway. So even if they hadn't changed how that tracker worked at all, it wouldn't be nearly as effective anymore if they sufficiently reduced bullet pen.
Exactly.
So you can't do that, but you wouldn't have been able to bang people through walls anymore anyway, most of the time. And instead, they gave you a whole outline, even through smoke, instead of merely a live ping through smoke. This is insane. Because if I have an outline of you, obviously it's easier to shoot you, but also I know where you're looking and I know what you're doing. So like if I see you stim, for example, I'm going to know like, okay, maybe I have to lead him a little more because he's going to be moving faster. Or if I see you reloading, I know you slowed down, obviously, but I see you. Or if I see you turn and look right at me or turn away from me and start blasting, I'm going to know, oh, there's another team there, whatever. This is actually just better than before, in fact.
Yeah.
And Tracker was already busted as fuck before. So this perk's insane. You should run it. And you can use it in ranked now. Also, oh, I can't see people in buildings in Urzikstan. Cool. Land 1 bullet and you will see them fine. This is nuts and needs to be nerfed. It should, here, if they want to have the outline, including through smoke but not walls, what they should do is it can only mark one person at a time, honestly. And it would still be very good. But having 5 people outlined simultaneously is completely fucking insane. Yeah. So.
Somebody in chat asked, does cold-blooded work against it? Not from what they've said. No, we just talked about that. Supposedly, cold-blooded will only stop the foot tracks that appear when running tracker. So you won't
footsteps,
yeah, you won't get the footsteps. So
but you'll still be able to outline people.
Seems
it was completely insane.
This seems way too good now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think you should only be able to mark one person at a time, and cold-blooded should fully counter tracker. So no footsteps and no outline. Then we're approaching balanced. But as it stands, this is way too good, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, this also now makes smokes completely useless in ranked play because everyone's going to be running tracker now, probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think.
Don't even bother running smokes.
Because even if no one is running smokes, if no one's running smokes, do I want to run tracker?
It might end up being kind of a trade-off. Yeah, it'll probably start with people running smokes and ranked. Everyone's running tracker. After a few days, a week, people will probably be like, there's no point in me even running smokes because everyone's running tracker. And then slowly people will probably start to realize, well, tracker's not as important, especially in ranked play without smoke. So maybe I just won't run this anymore. So maybe we'll just have that happen. But in pubs, I don't know. I think a lot of people will be running this in pubs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And this is good even if no one's running smokes, because there are times where like people are, I don't know, they're far or they're behind a bush or they're in a dark corner or something. Getting that live ping is really nice. Or that high outline. So I also wonder, let's say you're about to cross into a door and I shoot you like as you're entering the door. Will the outline immediately disappear? It should. I wonder if it will. Huh. So we'll see. I don't know. I think this is too strong though, yeah. So anyway, dexterity is now a default perk for all Warzone players, and the weapon handling component is now better. So by default, you will have less weapon motion while jumping, sliding, and moving, and or sprinting, one of those two. So this is just good. And diving as well. So that's great. Mountaineer's back in slot 1 instead of dexterity, as we just said. And then the fall damage reduction is big, but not as big as it was last year. So we'll see how good that ends up being.
I wish they would just tell us
it being back.
Like what the max height is.
They don't know is why they haven't.
Where you live,
so yeah. I hope that helps. But yeah, I also wish that would be great. And then veteran now provides a significant damage reduction against the effects of gas grenades. Still not worth running, especially since they've nerfed gas grenades. And that wasn't the problem with gas grenades anyway, it was the movement. Well, it was all of it, but. Then some things that were not in the community update at all that are pretty interesting. Equipment. So the Muni Satchel now only provides 1 additional item instead of 2. That was in the community update. Maximum deployed lethals and tacticals is 2 instead of 3. So you can't throw down 3 prox alarms or blast traps. Cool. This is weird. Impact grenade default stack size, so without a Muni Satchel, is now 3 instead of 2. So you can hit your loadout, have no satchels, hit a Muni, and you will have 3 impacts. If you do have a Muni, you get 4. So this is unique among all the other lethals so far. Here's what they say. Impact grenades occupy a unique niche between Semtex and frags. A direct hit significantly boosts its damage, while also bypassing some of the mitigation provided by Bomb Squad. making it a more skill-based option. We made the choice to retain its max stack size at 4 due to it underperforming quite significantly in metrics previously. Perhaps this makes it more impactful. They slip a little joke in there.
Got that.
So this is very surprising to me. I'm very surprised to hear that the metrics say impacts underperform. Because as we've talked about on Patreon, I've been running impacts for the last 6 weeks because they're so useful and you get instant value out of them. If I direct impact you, you're super fucked. But if I don't, you're still taking damage instantly, unavoidably. They're really good. And now they're just better compared to every other lethal. Based, I guess. I'm a big impact enjoyer. I don't think this was necessary. And I think it's probably too much. But I don't think it's the end of the world either. I'm just very surprised they did this, honestly. Like, if it's underperforming according to your data, shouldn't you just buff the damage or the radius or something? Why just give us more? Because if you give 1 more impact grenade to me, that means you're giving 3 more to me or to my team in like ranked, for example, or 4 more in quads, which means I go from throwing 12 impacts in your room to 16. That's a lot more. Like, that's kind of crazy. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I know you guys really like impacts, but I think they're ass. I use them for a short period of time, and you'll get like those occasional what feels like one-shot downs on people, but then most of the time you'll just see it hit like 3 feet away from some guy and it doesn't even do damage to them. So I've never thought they're that good at all. But I don't know. You guys have played a lot more than me, so either way, this is kind of weird that they just give you 1 more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's very weird.
I still just prefer frags to these, especially for how many people end up being on roofs, things like that.
You're also on KBAM, so you're not getting as close to people as often as we are. Because the main use I have for these, I almost never get like a direct impact down or something. Mainly it's for like, there's a guy in this room. I peek it. I see him. I unpeek it. I cook an impact, re-peek, throw it, unpeek again. Now I have a health advantage. Now I slide in and it's a free kill. Yeah. Whereas if you have like a really almost any other lethal, it's either not going to come out of your hand quickly enough, like a molly or a thermite, or it is going to have a detonation delay to where they're just going to run out on me at that point, and then I've lost that health advantage potential. So that's why impacts are so nice, because you can just throw it, right away you get some damage. It's not a lot if you don't hit them directly, and then you can push in. But yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying too. But yeah, it's weird. So we'll see how that goes. But I recommend you guys try impacts. Yeah, we talked about it a lot. Thermobaric grenades got buffed.
Yeah.
It's still going to be terrible. You know what thermobarics need? The ability to be cooked. Because you can't cook them right now.
Yeah.
And that delay is huge. It's like frags also have a long fuse, but you can cook it. But with thermobarics, they have a long fuse that you can't cook, so they're always kind of shit.
The thermobarics, the fuse isn't as long as on a frag, though, is it? I
Probably
think it
not, but it's
a little bit faster.
Well, the fuse might not be as long, but like it'll start detonating and you'll like hear it. Like by the time to explosion, I think is about as long. Yeah, honestly. So unless you can cook these, they're always going to be dog shit. Unless they do 8,000 damage. Like otherwise they're just shit. So don't use them. Frags have been slightly nerfed in their damage. Excuse me. Their inner damage down 10, mid damage down 50, and then outer damage increased by 7. So if you get a frag not close at all, but you get a hit marker, you're doing more. If you get it closer than that, then you're doing a little less. I guess this is fine. I have no thoughts really on that. Yeah. Next is gas grenade. Slightly increase the trigger height of the gas effects to better match visuals. Okay. So when you see gas, that's when it'll impact you. That's the idea they're going for. The movement reduction from gas has been decreased. Without resistance, so if you don't have veteran, instead of a 60% movement nerf, it is a 50% movement nerf. That's not enough.
No, this is not enough at all. These are still really good. Man. This is terrible.
I was so excited for this nerf, and then they don't do enough. With resistance, so if you have, I'm guessing, veteran perk, because with a gas mask, you have no impacts at all. I'm almost positive. So I think with resistance, what they mean is with the veteran perk, the blue perk.
It talks about it right below.
Okay, so with resistance from 60% to 25%. That's good, I guess. Because now they're probably actually counterable, because like we had talked about, by far the biggest problem with gas grenades is how much they slowed your character down. It wasn't even really like the damage or anything. It was mostly the movement thing. And if you don't have veteran or a gas mask, you're still going to be moving slow as fuck. So that's really bad. And also, by the way, they say the movement reduction without resistance, without veteran, is 50% now instead of 60%. But also, it disallows you sprinting. So it's actually way more than 50%. Because it's saying 50% of your like running speed.
Yeah,
it's
like
not
your
50%
jogging
of
speed.
Exactly. It's not 50% of your sprint or tack sprint speed. So instead of before it being 60%, was more like 80%. Because I would have otherwise been for sure sprinting or tack sprinting here. And now it's 50%, but it's probably more like 70%. Because again, I would be sprinting or tack sprinting here, which I can't now. So this is not even close to fucking being enough. And then the gas damage against veteran perk players, instead of 8 is 5k. Here's what they say. Gas grenade usage is increased.
Yeah. Yeah, it has, huh?
And these changes ensure proper counters are in place.
Fucking miserable devs. Yeah, this pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just waste a whole fucking slot running veteran so I don't have to deal with gas grenade spamming. Fucking idiots. This pisses me off so much.
These adjustments are okay. The veteran perk remains the best option to counter negative equipment effects. And like you said, I really have to sack a whole perk slot for one tactical.
For a tactical that shouldn't even be in the fucking game. That's
Exactly.
where we're at. It should just not be in the game. And then they don't nerf it enough. And they want me to run an entire perk to not get destroyed by it constantly. Miserable, miserable, miserable. Yeah, bad. I don't like this.
Terrible. These adjustments aim to balance the grenade's effectiveness while keeping counters viable. Yeah, they just don't get
anything.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
I
If
hope
anything,
they're
increase the damage it does, but reduce or remove the movement penalty. Honestly, I would love to take fucking 15 damage per tick with veteran, but my movement speed is only impacted 10%.
So you can get out of it quicker. Yeah,
exactly. That's the whole problem with it. Is like, dude, if I can't move, I'm gonna get pushed by 3 people and shot at easily, and I can't ADS either. Yeah, the devs just don't play the game. It's obviously that simple. Yeah,
I really hope
it's so obvious.
Everyone still runs gas grenades and spams the hell out of them so much that they're forced to do something more substantial very soon. Yeah.
Unfortunately, what's going to happen is everyone's going to run veteran, and then the movement penalty is going to be not egregious enough for people to complain. And now we're just going to have a must-run perk that is unfun for everyone. And then I don't think people are going to complain enough. That's what I'm guessing happens, honestly. Because 25% instead of 60% with veteran, that is substantial. And that's probably enough to where people are not going to complain about it, as they ought to, unfortunately. But it's like, now I'm going to have to run veteran. And what if how many fights am I going to get in where they're not running gas grenades or where I have a gas mask? A lot. So it's going to be a wasted perk most of the time. But for the one time you run into a gas grenade team, if you don't have it, you will die 100%. So you're going to be forced to run it for 10% of gunfights. It's so cringe. Yeah.
I'm quite bugged. Yeah.
I'm extremely bugged. Yeah. Really bad stuff. Yeah. Terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. Yeah. I will say, however, this is an improvement. So not nearly enough, not addressing the core problem at all, because Activision devs don't play their own game, but it is an improvement. At least you can counter it now. And they did some other things this patch. Or excuse me, it's a reminder, they said they did some other things this patch. So we'll disclaim all day at the end of this.
Yeah.
So anyway, stim shot. Strafe slide velocity with stim has been slightly reduced. So laterally sliding while stemmed. Fine. Yeah, I don't know.
They've nerfed movement confirmed.
Yeah. They say the combination of stim and omnidirectional slides exceeded the normal velocity thresholds. So now they're not exceeding normal velocity thresholds. That implies to me that you were actually able to stim slide more quickly laterally than you could straight forward. If that's true, this is a good change, because that sounds insane.
This is good for me, for sure.
It's good for you, yeah.
Because this is one of the big things. I mean, it's usually not when people are stimming anyways, but people sprinting side to side, that's what's difficult to track. So when you can stim and do that even faster, yeah, I mean, that's GG. So yeah, this is cool, I guess.
So I think this is a good change. I didn't even know that was true. Spy camera updated the outline visual to no longer display through walls, and the effect duration is 10 seconds instead of 7. So that's fine. It's going to be shit now. Well, I don't know about shit, actually, but not as good. And then the proxy alarm updated the outline visual for better clarity. Okay. Bunker Buster. Gas damage against targets with gas resistance has been reduced from 8 to 5. So just like the gas grenade ticks, now if you have veteran, you'll take 3 less damage, which is not the problem. Okay, next, field upgrades, loadout drop markers. The bounce factor for loadout drop markers has been reduced by 50%. They should also reduce the bounce factor of the loadout itself, because I have seen that thing bounce like a ball of rubber bands before. But whatever, I guess. This is fine. They write a whole paragraph about it. It's not that important, but whatever.
Oh, yeah. I assumed they were talking about the physical loadout that drops, because that is the one that always bounces everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't. So they're literally just talking about the smoke grenade you throw, which then drops the loadout marker. So that smoke grenade won't bounce as much. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be like throwing a medicine ball at the ground, even though the marker is about the size of your palm. And then when the loadout crate comes down, which looks like it weighs as much as a Tesla Cybertruck, it is going to just bounce 3 stories when it hits the ground, and I'll have to wait 20 minutes. Cool. Way to address the real issues, Activision. But that's fine, I guess, whatever. PDS, Portable Decontamination Station. The ability to re-enable closed buy stations or deployable buy stations by dropping a PDS nearby now works as intended. So to those of you who said when I was complaining about this, oh, they changed this months ago. Apparently they didn't, because it was intended to be opening buy stations. So yeah, hold that L. However, to align with the previously outlined buy station changes, this is not possible during the final circle of a match. Just good. This is good. This is just good. Yeah. Shouldn't have ever been broken in the first place, but yeah, cool. Okay, weapons, general. So a lot of this we did go over in the community update. This first section is on reload speeds. MW3 ARs will now reload 15% faster. Everything's faster, so I'm just going to say the percent. And then SMGs 10% for MW3. 12% for snipers. MW2 ARs 12%. Subs 22%. Snipers 15%. And then BO6, which is going to be the most relevant thing, almost certainly. ARs 5%. Not big at all. LMGs 10%. Pretty big, especially because LMGs are going to reload the most slowly. So 10% of a big number is going to be the biggest reduction.
Quick maths. Yep.
Absolutely. So that seems maybe pretty good. And then SMGs 10% as well. That's nice.
Yeah.
Snipers also 10%. Reload speeds for flip and fast mag attachments have been increased by an additional 5%. Okay. This is something you'll have to play with, and it's still going to depend on the specific gun and attachments you're using, but I always like faster reload speed, so this is cool. I'm happy about this. Bullet pen attrition has been adjusted across most materials, resulting in a more consistent experience for thicker walls in particular. So hopefully what they mean is less bullet penetration.
Yeah.
But you never know until you see it in the game. But I mean, obviously this needs to happen. So if they did well, then good. Weapon swap speed has been increased by 10%, effectively replicating the effect of the quick grip gloves perk from Modern Warfare. Great.
Yep.
Big fan of this as well. Sprint to fire penalty when jumping is 10% instead of 35%. And the ADS jump speed penalty, so ADS speed when you jump, has been reduced by 25%. And they don't tell you to what percent number it is here, even though they just said it for sprint to fire.
Yeah,
I hate the devs. I hate the devs. So this is cool, though. These are good things, regardless. And we knew this in the community update. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, the reload speeds didn't get increased by as much as I want, namely BO6 ARs. 5% faster. Honestly, you guys are not going to notice that.
No, not at all. 10% isn't even that noticeable at all for SMGs.
I agree.
It's nice having the 10% increase for SMGs, because when you're in those close range gunfights, that's when it feels like it takes forever to reload.
That's when it really matters.
10% there will be a little bit better. But yeah, honestly, I expected more from the BO6 guns. So we kind of got somewhat baited by them saying 5 to 20%, because the only increase close to 20% was for MW2 guns, and you guys haven't used those for 2 years, so doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So BO6 is 5 to 10% increase.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's good to note. That is a bait, yeah. So anyway, new weapons. PPSH and the Cypher 091 are out now. Oh, wait. And the Feng 82. And, Jesus, the TR2. I guess these are all out now. Oh, no. Not the TR2. But the other three are. We have no idea if they're meta or not.
PPSH, the irons, by the way, insane. Really, really solid irons. I did already see Warzone Loadout say that the PPSH time to kill is still slower with the Jackal, so he thinks the Jackal's still going to be meta, because with the PPSH fire rate, saying it feels kind of weird, like how the compact does. But I don't know. I think it'll be fine. But the irons are insane, and the gun also has a ton of muzzle flash, unfortunately. You can probably get rid of that, though, with some sort of muzzle attachment, I would hope. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But, I mean, it looks good from what I've seen.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to tell because everybody's running
meta.
it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want it to be meta because those irons are insane.
The irons do look good, yeah. We'll keep you guys posted on that, but like no one really knows yet. We just gotta wait. So anyway, next are some weapon adjustments. Not gonna read everything here, but I will give you the cliff notes on what might be relevant. So the AK has been buffed in its range and some handling stuff. I don't really care. That gun's still gonna almost certainly suck balls. Yeah, because they didn't touch the recoil. So the AIM's
Wait,
85.
for what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
About the other guns real quick, by the way, the PPSH time to kill is about in line with a Jackal. I mean, it's like a difference of like 10, 15 milliseconds. And
So they're the same,
also, according to
basically,
Warzone loadout, the new AR, the Cypher, is, I mean, it seems bugged. According to his chart, the time to kill for a average body shot location up to about 40 meters, it's like 400 milliseconds. So the game's
Jesus
about
Christ.
to be fucking busted wide open because of this gun. Keep in mind, at that same range, the XM4 is 750. Like, his chart almost seems wrong. I don't know. Well, wait, this couldn't just be fake news. But according to his chart, it's like 400 millisecond time to kill.
That's obviously way
so
too good.
it's bugged. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have fun playing today, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, people won't be running SMGs. If this is true, this is killing faster than any SMG at that range.
Yeah.
And judging by how they've performed this year, don't expect this to get nerfed for at least a week.
If it's actually 400 milliseconds, they'll probably nerf it sooner. That's so fast that they kind of have to, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere. His chart is horrific.
Unless the recoil's absurd or something. I don't know.
No, he said it doesn't have recoil either. It
Oh,
has
good.
very minimal recoil.
Okay, great.
His chart's very difficult to read, but it's definitely under 450 at least.
That's way too fucking fast. Yeah, obviously. Especially at 40 meters. That's insane. So
yeah.
If it is that good, it has to be nerfed and hopefully would be soon. So keep that in mind. Anyway. Yeah, AIM's 85, back to the weapon balance stuff. Buffed a little bit. Let's see. The GPR 91, which was like one of the two competing meta ARs very early on. So it's like pretty solid. Had its damage range nerfed, its ADS speed slowed, its sprint to fire slowed, and its leg multi reduced by 6%. So nerfed a little bit, but not really. So interesting. Could be meta, maybe, actually. Because the XM4 got nerfed. We'll get into it in a second. Model L, damage range increased slightly. Leg multi increased by 3%. So it's still probably just not good. Probably has too much recoil, realistically. And then the XM4. Which needs a nerf badly, obviously. See what they did. All of its damage ranges were nerfed. Not by too much, though. So like 53 to 48 meters for its farthest damage range. So it's not too bad. The damage was unchanged in its first two damage ranges, but at its longest damage range, which is what's the most important, the damage went from 24 to 22. That's a big deal. I don't know how many more shots to kill that is, but probably at least 1 or 2 bullets. So that's lowering the time to kill in most of your engagements because you're mostly shooting your long range gun at its minimum damage range. And then additional adjustments. The leg multi went from 1.0 to 0.88. So 12% less damage. That is fairly substantial as well. Because if you're shooting 100 rounds at someone really far away, you're probably hitting a lot of leg shots. So now it's just going to, in those instances, require even more bullets on top of the 2 damage nerf to all damage zones at its minimum damage range. And then attachment adjustments. The 100 round mag now ADSs from 15% slower to now 30% slower. That's actually probably not a huge deal. I'd have to play myself though. Because this is, yeah. So
you know what pisses me off about this too is this obviously needed a reload speed nerf of
for
like
sure.
25%.
You're right.
And they didn't
actually.
do that, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a great point. They did need to do that also. By the way, spelled magazine wrong.
Magazine.
Okay.
Magazine.
I mean, I was wrong when I said ordnance versus ordnance last time, though. The word I thought was also correct, but it was a different word. They had spelled it right. This is just wrong, though. I've Googled it, so okay, I understand it now. ADS speed penalty. Okay, sorry. And then the buffer weight stock. This is the like XM4 XMG specific stock attachment that really blew this thing wide open. The horizontal recoil control bonus is now 45 instead of 60%, meaning you're going to have 15% more horizontal recoil than before with a meta setup. That's a fucking huge deal, by the way, I imagine. Because horizontal recoil control is really the one you want. And then the vertical recoil control bonus is now 18% instead of 30%. So you're going to also have 12% more vertical recoil with this attachment. And then the gun kick bonus, which is another miscellaneous recoil stat, instead of 32% is now 20%. So another 12% loss there. Okay, so according to Jgod, and Teep, I guess, this is what Twitch chat tells me. I don't know if this is true. They don't think this is enough to make this gun not be meta anymore. I don't know. I would have to look at its minimum damage range time to kill now. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. Because honestly, everything else, like the leg multi nerf and the attachment changes, it's going to have like more recoil, ADS more slowly, and you're going to do less leg damage. If that were all, this would absolutely still be the best gun. But if like the GPR is now killing faster than the XM4 at long range, I don't think you would run an XM4 anymore, depending on what your time to kill difference is in that case, and also how much more easily will you hit bullets with the GPR compared to an XM4. Because these are pretty substantial recoil nerfs, it sounds like, to the XM4, meaning you're going to be missing a lot more, I think, meaning your effective time to kill is going to go way down. I could be wrong about that, though, but I find it pretty unlikely this remains the meta gun, mainly because of the damage nerf and the recoil increase. But I don't know. What do you think?
It doesn't sound like enough to me at all, honestly. I mean, think of like if you're running a gunfighter build, having a 15% reduction to your horizontal recoil on that attachment on a gun that like virtually in with a gunfighter build, especially if running like a compensator or something on it, muzzle brake. I mean, that's hardly going to make a noticeable difference, to be honest, because the gun didn't have that much recoil to start with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This does not seem like enough at all to me. I honestly expected them to completely gut this gun, like damage nerf to every single range, more substantial range nerfs, maybe other multiplier adjustments. I expected the 100 round drum mag to get hit way harder than it did. Doesn't seem enough so far. I don't know.
Yeah.
It also, it's going to be hard to tell because once people discover that this other new gun is bugged, the Cypher, then people aren't going to be running the XM4 for a little while till that gets nerfed anyways. So then that'll be a true test.
True.
But also, I think Warzone Loadout also posted that. I don't know. These seem updated already, and I mean, the time to kill seems like the same. It seems like what it was. Like the XM4 is slightly slower than. No, I mean, it still kills faster than the AK at range. So no, it's gonna be meta still. Yeah. Not enough.
You know what else too is like right now my XM4 gunfighter build, I run the bullet velocity firing ammo mod or whatever. But like now, if I feel like, oh, these recoil nerfs are substantial, I'm just gonna run recoil springs instead, and then it's gonna feel like before, but now it's just I have less velocity, which isn't gonna matter most of the time. So you might be right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it ultimately is going to depend on, how much is this 2 damage nerf at minimum range going to be reducing the TTK? Yeah, I'm kind of coming around, actually. I don't know for sure, but I can see why people don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough either way, probably. Unless this 2 damage is doing more heavy lifting than I think. Because like you said, this 100 round mag really needed a massive reload speed penalty. That was like the big thing it needed, obviously.
Well, it's...
And probably a movement speed penalty too, by the way.
They're just already starting to do what they did last year, which is they nerfed a couple guns. Like the GPR didn't even need to be nerfed. So they're already they're nerfing the meta gun a little bit and then also slightly nerfing all the other guns. So it's going to be the same exact thing they did last year, where nothing ever gets buffed.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine at this point. It's hard to tell because we've only had the XM4 for a whole season. So maybe that's fine, but obviously they're going to go down that same path this entire year once again.
Yeah.
So there won't be, however the guns perform now, they're not going to perform any better throughout the rest of the year. Just keep that in mind. They're just going to slowly nerf away the guns that can become slightly meta, and then we'll just go on to the next gun that's as good.
And then in season 5, they're going to release an insane perfect gun that has no flaws. And then season 6, they're going to do an even better one.
Yeah.
And then the game's going to ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Apocalyptically. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought the XM4 was just going to be trash. But after, really looking at this, maybe not. But it's too early to say. So we'll keep you guys posted regardless, obviously. So... Anyway, moving on from there, SMGs. C9, buffed. Jackal, damage ranges nerfed. And the upper torso and arm multi decreased 1.0 to 0.93. Lower torso, 0.9 to 0.83. And then bullet velocity decreased 30 meters per second. I don't think the damage range nerfs matter that much because they're not very large at all. They didn't touch the damage values. I think the big deal is the multiplier decreases. Upper torso going from 1 to 0.93 basically means you're just going to do 7% less damage than before now. Because with your Jackal, where are you hitting people? Like center mass, always. Or that's what you're aiming for. So you're going to be doing 7% less damage in that case. Or if you're hitting the belly, you're also going to be doing 7% less damage than before. So my guess is, practically speaking, the Jackal's just now going to kill 7% more slowly. However, what was its time to kill? 600 milliseconds? So what's 7% of 600 milliseconds? Like,
a number.
50 milliseconds? That's something. Is it enough? I don't know. Because there were no changes to its movement speed, ADS speed, sprint to fire speed. So it's still going to be pretty good, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, KSV was buffed in its damage range and handling. And then the PP919, my favorite gun, please God help me. Damage range nerf. Very slight, by the way, all these damage range nerfs. Headshot multi, 3% lower. Leg multi, 18% lower. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah, it's pretty much unchanged.
Basically unchanged, yeah. Because you're not really hitting headshots very often with your sub, and you're not hitting legs very much either. So PP's basically unchanged. So if you don't like the Jackal anymore, PP's looking real nice. So anyway. The XMG buffer stock attachment was nerfed in the same way it was for the XM4. Pistol changes, and that's that. So, yeah. As far as SMGs go, I think the Jackal's still just the best, it looks like, honestly. Unless the new DLC one is better. But I can't imagine a 7% damage nerf is going to be substantial enough to unseat it. Because what else are you going to run? Like, I run the PP anyway, but that thing gets zapped in the Jackal's first damage range with extreme ease.
Yeah.
And I think the Jackal is still going to kill faster than the PP in its first damage range, even with a 7% slower time to kill. So I think the Jackal's still going to be meta unless a DLC gun's going to overtake it. I have no idea. Or the Tonto aftermarket part or whatever blows the whole thing wide open. I don't know if that's out yet. But yeah, that's pretty disappointing, honestly. And again, I didn't want a huge Jackal nerf. I just, like Tanner just said, a buff to some other guns would have been cool. You know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's I don't know. The PPSH might be the move now.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
Especially, well, if the muzzle flash can be reduced significantly with some sort of muzzle device, I would prefer to use that anyways because the irons are so much better. Because like I don't like the Jackal irons that much. So
yeah, they're not great.
I also don't want to run an optic, but I do better with an optic, so it'd be better just getting another attachment and not having to run that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, so what this looks like to me is the meta is going to be either the Jackal or the PPSH. Like almost certainly.
A lot of people are running the KSV too right now, but it's because it got a slight buff, so they're trying it out.
And to be clear, the KSV got a buff because it got like 1 meter of damage range in most of its damage ranges. Okay. It aims down sight 10 milliseconds more quickly. It sprints to fire 10 milliseconds more quickly. And it has 40 more meters per second of bullet velocity. Meaning, it didn't get buffed. Almost none of that matters. 10 milliseconds is nothing, first of all. And 12.9 to 13.9 first damage range means something, but it's not a huge deal. And if the KSV wasn't better than like the Jackal yesterday, I don't think this is changing the game, honestly. So yeah. I think people are just kind of super bored with the meta, so they're trying everything. They'll come around. They'll come back around. PPSH or Jackal.
Yeah, this is how it always goes.
Yeah, exactly.
The start of a new season.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see though. Maybe 7% is bigger than I think for the Jackal, but I mean, again, if it's time to kill right now is what, 600 milliseconds. 7% of that is not even 60. It's, you know, less than that. 50-ish milliseconds, which is something, but it's really not big. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on from there. Loot. Lootable perks have been updated. Shrouded, Irradiated. Those are the two ground loot only ones. And now you can ground loot Veteran. Okay, that's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
Sprinter. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Tempered. That'll also be fun. And then Reflexes. I don't know what this does. I don't remember what this does.
I'm an expert on it.
Yeah. Someone in chat tell me what Reflexes is. But those are the new lootable perks, so interesting. And then lootable weapons. All ground loot weapons have been refreshed. Semi-auto burst fire weapons and common through epic handguns have been removed. Based. Ultra based.
Yeah.
That does not include shotguns, though, unfortunately. But it's a start.
By the way, there's already been one lie I've seen from the patch notes. Supposedly, the buy stations did not get updated on Big Map.
Gotcha.
At all, so.
Gotcha.
There's one lie to start.
Every single set of patch notes, there has been at least one lie in it.
And that one, you gotta think, is one of the easiest things they can do.
And most obvious, yeah. That's classical.
If that's true,
that's Beethoven.
It seems,
as Nicole would say.
Yeah, that's McDonald's. Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. Such a boomer thing to say.
Swirly bad.
Yeah, she needs a swirly. Yeah. Anyway, that's hilarious. We'll talk more about that at the end. But yeah, lootable weapon thing is good. So. Intel contracts now have a very low chance to reward a durable gas mask. I hate it. This is the only way to get a durable, I guess. Right?
My beloved.
Unless there are patch notes later that say they added these to buy stations, which I doubt.
Yeah.
They've now added durables, but only if you do an intel and you have a very low chance. Why? Why do this? Yeah, this bugs me a lot. Because also intel contracts, who are the people doing lots of intels who are likely to find, who are now becoming the only people capable of finding durable gas masks? Camping rat fucks.
Yeah, rat
I'm
fucks,
bugged.
yeah.
I'm bugged. This did not need to happen. So I'm not opposed to durable gas masks being introduced necessarily. I don't think you should ultimately, but if you do it, that's fine. Don't have it only be this way though. Very weird. Very weird. So anyway, signals intelligence is now nerfed. So instead of 7,500 per player, you will get a scaling amount depending on the team size. So in quads, you only get 3K per player for 12K total. This needed to happen. That contract was insane in like trios and quads.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Way too good.
This is a base change. Scavenger. Distance between scavenger crates has been reduced, requiring less of a marathon between objectives.
Oh, nice.
Good.
They fixed something that they also fixed last year and then broke again this year. That's good.
They said they fixed it. They may or may not have actually fixed it, but this is a good intention. Yeah, for sure. Because we would literally never pick them up because it was so insane.
Yeah.
It was actually 400 meters sometimes to the next crate. What are we doing? And I have to pick up 3? That's fucking 2 clicks. Anyway, it's not quite. Public events. The runaway train now has a 10% chance to occur in the 5th circle of BR. Wow.
I know what the chance was before too, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I think they had taken it out with the integration, right? And now they're adding it back. I think so.
Oh my god, dude.
Actually,
we
yes.
might get new
now.
contracts in season 4 at this rate. Holy shit, we are almost back. Let's go.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
I like that they say, by the way, in the 5th circle, maybe, because I encountered a situation where there was a runaway train event. It actually might have been 5th circle. I don't know. But anyway, the train is in farms. The circle's in downtown. And then it says runaway train event and everyone dies to gas.
Oh, yeah. I remember when that
Every
happened.
single player, because no one can get there in time, obviously. Yeah. And the game's over. So I actually don't know how they're supposed to fix that, honestly. But maybe 5th circle is a big enough circle to where it's fine. I don't know. I have no idea, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, the way it's supposed to work is the train starts slowing down long before that. So, like, you can tell when the runaway train event's going to happen before it happens. That's how it worked last year, at least.
Yeah, sure, but if I'm in downtown, I'm not going to be periodically checking the train speed over at farms mid gunfight.
Yeah, well, that's obviously what I'm saying is that's clearly just a bug. So, as if it's not fucking bugged, it's going to work correctly. Yeah. It was caused by nuke contracts, so it's fixed. That's what I think.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Sure. Challenges. Don't care. Vehicles. Wow. Psych. Damage adjustments. C4 and IED damage have been slightly adjusted to ensure greater consistency when destroying vehicles.
What is an IED?
When the fuck did they add IEDs to Warzone? I'm assuming this means like blast traps and prox mines?
Yeah, it's probably just a general term, but it's funny because they've never once used the term IED
Not once.
in Warzone patch notes ever since 2020.
Correct.
Now
Literally
suddenly
not
they're
once
throwing
ever.
it in. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, an IED is an improvised explosive device. Prox mine is a manufactured explosive device. It's an MED, as we called it in the United States Marine Corps, which I was a part of. So I don't know why they called it that, but I get what they're trying to say. Don't really care though, obviously. Make the vehicles faster. That's what I was hoping it said under the vehicle header. Anyway. Audio. Okay, third-party reverb has been reduced to improve directionality of movement audio produced by other players. Good. How many times are they going to reduce it before they fucking remove it, by the way? Is this number 5?
This is, I think, number 3.
It's lots.
This is the third update to the reverb, I believe.
So, fine though, whatever. Adjusted parachute audio being louder than intended at farther distances. Okay, I'm a little concerned. This would be good if true, but I'm very worried they also have the audio be quieter at in my ass distance too. I'm very worried they're going to overcook with this one, but we'll see. Players will now hear the enemy self-revive sound. W! This is one of Jake Down's hobby horses. Is silent self-reses. That is insane. So this is going to be a good thing. And then the patch notes end with fucking 100 bug fixes, which is good.
Oh, there are lots. Wow.
There are tons. Now, because I don't have, I'm not going to read these all to you live. Instead, what I've done is copy and pasted the ones that I find relevant into our notes. I will now read them. I like that there are a billion bug fixes because there are also a billion bugs. So here's what they say they have fixed. And here's just a selection of the ones I find important. There are some other good bug fixes that are relevant, but they're not relevant enough to mention or worth mentioning. And of course, some of the bug fixes are retarded. Like, you shouldn't have wasted time on this. But we got a lot of good ones that they say they have fixed, which may or may not be fixed. So here we go. Fixed an issue where the ghost perk would persist from the pre-match lobby into the match. So once again, that is confirmation that conspiracy theory was in fact true. You could get ghost in your pre-game loadout, splat, and you'd have it the rest of the game, with or without your loadout. Insane that this was ever possible, but they say they have fixed it, so good. Fixed an issue where Cold-Blooded did not properly counter Tracker. So now we know it was meant to, but is it meant to counter the outline? Don't know.
Nobody knows.
It's actually unclear now because they put this in the bug fixes. So hopefully it does, but it's still Tracker clear, would still be busted. Yeah, make it clear one time. Just one singular time, yeah. Fixed an issue where quick fix health regeneration did not activate correctly while plating. One of my hobby horses. This is attempt number 3. This is attempt number 3 to fix one perk. Will it work this time? It may or may not. Fix an issue preventing quick fix health regeneration from functioning when eliminating an enemy with the combat axe or throwing knife. Good. Cool. We'll see. Fix an issue where the survivor perk prevented players from reviving downed squad members. That is why we couldn't res our teammates. It's because we had the survivor perk.
Well, we have a patch note in chat 2 minutes ago from Ali the Great. I just played Rebirth and I could not get revived or revive.
Did your teammate happen to have the survivor perk?
Very cool. I cannot wait to see how many of these are just complete lies in about 48 hours. Yeah. Fuck, I can't wait. I'm so excited to see that list.
Yeah. So
we're gonna have to go back through this entire bug list again, like next Saturday, and give you guys the real. Well, actually, just you know what we're gonna do next Saturday? We'll go through this entire patch note blog post once again and tell you what was true or not, because I have a feeling most of it is just wrong. Yeah, and the XM4 is still meta, everyone says, so keep that in mind as well.
Gotcha. Very cool. So moving on from that, yeah, we'll talk more about that at the end here. Fixed an issue where weapons became inaccessible near interactable areas, like buy stations. Okay.
Jake already posted a clip of a gun falling through a chest and he couldn't grab it.
I've received that comm. That is also an interactable area, by the way, a box. Yep. So, okay. These are currently live patch notes, by the way. This is supposedly for the patch that's currently live. We are giving you on-the-ground reporting, breaking news of many of these things.
We have live reporters, man.
We have
Jake,
live
do we have any
reporters
more?
on the ground. Yeah, we need to get Jake a green screen with like Hurricane Katrina behind him. Give him a raincoat and a little mic. Oh, that'd be funny. Anyway. I'm not surprised, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to read what they intended to do with this patch, what they say they did, which they may or may not have actually done. So that one's fake, I guess. Fixed an issue causing weapons to fall through buy station models. Okay. Fixed an issue causing parachutes to deploy when jumping off ladders. Another one of my hobby horses. Jake, is this fixed? Let me know, please. That one's extremely tilting. Fixed an issue where players were not always able to go prone while reviving a teammate. Not a huge deal, but this did bug me, so good if fixed. Fixed an issue causing players to spectate an enemy who did not eliminate them. So we would all die to one guy, and then we'd be spectating 4 separate teams, none of which would be the team of the single guy who killed all 4 of us. Happened actually almost every time. The latter one is fixed. Good. Okay. So we'll see if the kill cam thing is fixed. Fixed an issue causing players to redeploy without weapons and preventing loot interactions. Huge bug. Hopefully that's fixed. Preventing auto pickup functionality when items were on lower shelves. So like looting a gas station was very cringe. Hopefully that's fixed. Scrambler effect persisted on the map throughout the match. Not a huge deal, but it happened, so that's good. Where attempting to pick up one of multiple guns on the ground caused players to juggle them. Maybe the funniest clip this year is posted in our Discord in the Cat Piss Deaths channel of a clip that I pulled from Campin' with BB, Brinson Gaming or whatever, where he spends, I'm not joking, 30 seconds, 30 Mississippis trying to equip 2 of his guns. I swear to God, he is juggling them for 30 Mississippis. I was crying, laughing, crying hard, laughing hard. It is fucking hilarious. You guys should go watch it. That supposedly is fixed. It may or may not be fixed. Keep that in mind. Let's see. Fixed additional cases where UAVs and advanced UAVs did not trigger as expected. An issue where the PA notification failed to appear on the player's location, so you'd be outside of the minimap region and still die. We had another cat piss death clip last night from Chris, Tanner's slightly less shit brother-in-law, where inside of a one-minute clip, he gets down to 2 PAs, neither of which were on his character on his minimap. Cool. So that is fixed according to the patch notes.
It didn't even show the path?
It showed the path. He was far outside of it.
Oh,
both times he was far outside of it. Far outside of it. And it downed him anyway both times in one minute clip. I'm surprised his computer was still on to press the clip button, because mine would have been destroyed. Yeah. But anyway. An issue causing players to lose tac sprint functionality after using a zipline. This was bugging me, and we talked about it, where we'd said, sometimes when I take out my tac knife, I just won't be tac sprinting, even though I have auto tac sprint on. For no reason, I don't know why. Now we know why. I guess it's because I used a zipline that game. Which, hey, happens a lot. Crazy. But it may or may not be fixed, so that may or may not be good. Let's see. An issue causing the primary weapon in a loadout to reset after a match. This is annoying, but not the end of the world. It was jerry-riggable. And then last one that I found relevant. An issue where the player's HUD disappeared when redeploying. Annoying. Quite annoying, actually. And that's that. So, there are more bug fixes than this. These were the ones I thought were most worth pointing out. And that's the end of the patch notes. Are there still some bugs that they didn't even attempt to fix that are fairly important? I would say yes. But this is the vast majority of the major ones. I would love to see the not having a pistol out of water one fixed. I would love to see if you're swimming in the water with a gas mask on and then you come out of it, you have super heavy breathing fixed. And then a lot of other things, probably other bug fixes. I'm not going to read all the ones that they haven't addressed yet. I wonder if a blueprint 5 attachment guns still cost 6K, by the way, which is not intended. It's supposed to cost 2,500. Probably still does cost 6K. Whatever. But like, more than that, there's still a lot of quality of life work to be done. Visibility in all buildings needs to be way better, for example. We could still use a lot of audio improvements on Rebirth and Area 99. Gulag needs lighting massively. And probably some other things if I thought about it. However, I will say this. This is a great, fantastic patch. The best one we've ever gotten easily in Warzone. By far. And would make the game really fun and playable again. If true. And there's the rub, right? Because already we are getting on the ground reporting that many of these things are just not true. Yeah. So the buy stations have not actually moved.
Jake confirmed that as well. So yep.
Yeah. What other bug? Oh, the tack sprinting after a zip line losing functionality. That's still a bug. What was the other one? Couldn't be revived with the survivor perk. That's still a bug. All 3 of which so far. This is in an hour of the patch going live that we found, by the way. So how many of the other bug fixes are not actually true? Does quick fix work, at least? For fuck's sake. The latter one's a big one, and I'm glad that one appears to actually be fixed. But here's the problem, and this is what I had been telling you guys. And this is why I told you guys not to get excited about the community update. It all looked good on paper. But you shouldn't trust them until you actually see it in game. And I don't know how much of this is actually in the game. Some of it's not. Certainly not all of it. What did I ultimately say about the community update? I said by the end of season 2, we'll probably have about 70% of the things they said they were going to do. And it looks like so far, that's where we're headed. Which is fucking insane, but it would still represent a market improvement in the state of the game. So, we don't know yet. We haven't played. I'm going to play today, right after this. We will let you guys know, obviously, how much better the game is, how much of this shit is actually true, and then what other work needs to happen. Because another thing, to give the devs credit, they did say in the community update, we are going to be releasing like improvements to the quality of life and shit throughout the season. So I didn't expect everything on day 1. I actually, as far as what's on paper, this is a lot more than what I expected on day 1. I expected less on day 1, and then for them to fuck up 30% of it, and then that trend continue for the rest of season 2. What it looks like has happened is we got a lot more than I thought we would on day 1, but as I expected, looks like they fucked up about 70% of it. So it's better than I expected. But it is not to the standard of a AAA game development company. There should be no problems. The game should reflect exactly what they said it was going to in the fucking patch notes. Duh. So I'm annoyed, but it does appear like the game has still gotten a lot better, despite them fucking tripping over themselves to attempt to replicate what they said they were going to do in the patch notes. But I haven't played yet, so we'll keep you guys posted, obviously. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, seems pretty good on paper until we started getting to the patch notes and seeing everything is, a lot of it seems to be bugged again. And then from what I had already gathered, a lot of people are saying the meta basically didn't change at all, and the game overall feels the same. But, it's
so the new gun isn't it? The Cypher?
Well, that one's broken. It's just people haven't unlocked that yet. I haven't seen anybody actually really using that yet, other than like in the Gulag or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's just all a big we'll see. Another thing that wasn't on the bug fixes, by the way, is how they didn't try to adjust the prices at buy stations for the 8th time this year. So that's probably still screwed up what was happening.
Yeah.
Regarding the
Blueprint
5 attachment
5
builds.
attachment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I honestly expected way more weapon balancing than we got. Substantial weapon balancing.
Yeah.
I guess we're just never getting substantial weapon balancing again. I just always go back to Caldera and think about that, but I mean, that only happened for 1 year, and the other 4 years of this game, it just hasn't worked that way. So I just got, we have expected that since Caldera, but that's just never coming back, obviously.
Yeah,
we're getting minor weapon balancing updates, and we get 2 a season. We get the season and mid-season, and that's it. Otherwise, other than when a gun's like obviously broken, like the Cypher, seems like that's going to be nerfed here very soon, hopefully. But yeah, and then like gas grenades still being too good. Reflexes being ground loot now is good though.
What is that?
Veteran, I mean. Veteran being ground loot now to help with that a little bit better. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll play it and see.
Yeah, we'll play it and see. On the weapon meta topic, from what I saw in the patch notes, I feel like the SMG meta is indeed going to stay either Jackal or PPSH. The XM4, though, I think it's too early to say for both. Because we've seen this a lot before, where they do a nerf, and streamers don't actually stop using it for another 5 days because they're just like used to it and want to play. So it is possible the XM4 in a week, even if they don't do any more weapon balance changes, won't be meta. Like, it's not the best option. We just don't really know it yet. Even excluding the Cypher, the new AR being good. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know. But that's possible. It's also possible in the case of the SMGs. Like, maybe the Jackal is worse, but people are just used to it, so they're still using it, and they think it still feels good. Like, those things could change, but if they don't, that's too bad. I think it's just too early to say what is meta, or like what is the best option, rather than like what is everyone using. Because I mean, the patch has been live for an hour, so like, I don't think people have given a fair shake to maybe some other ARs, but I don't know. I mean, could be wrong, obviously. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, in terms of like, I forgot about the gas grenade nerf, not nearly enough. But here's the silver lining. They got some of this right, and everything they set out to do was everything they set out to do was either a good change or a step closer to a good change. And they actually did implement some or most of it, probably. So the game's definitely better now than it was before. Barring new bugs and glitches that change the equation, which is possible. We just don't know yet. But it's really disappointing, although not surprising this year, that I can't just rely on the patch notes. Like, a lot of them are just still lies. It's so it's sad when you really think about it. It's sad. It
really is.
Especially for a company this size. It's just like, it's so unprofessional and embarrassing, but whatever, I've harped about that enough. The silver lining is, again, even if they didn't hit all of it, the game's almost certainly better now than it was yesterday, basically. Barring some other new crazy fucking bugs. Number one. And number two, they said all of season 2, they're like not going to do shit but continue to fix the game. So if they keep their word on that and keep trying to fix the game, inept as they are, they will do more of these changes in these patch notes and then more new ones that need to happen as well. And by the end of it, we could have a really solid game going into Verdansk.
Yeah.
But that is not a guarantee. So, like, I think that's a probability. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And speaking on that, this season is supposed to end on March 20th. That's what it's looking like. So that is close to the Verdansk anniversary. So it is entirely possible because Verdansk came out on the 10th, I believe.
Okay.
I believe it was March 10th, March 9th or 10th. So that would line up. They're ending a season. They start doing some hype for it. And then we get Verdansk at the start of season 3, hopefully. So we might just have 52 more days until we're surely back at that point.
Hopefully.
Gotta be.
Hopefully.
And they did tweet that about the buy stations not working, and they said it'd be patched in like the coming days or a few days or something.
Not moving. Yeah.
Yeah, classic. So they've already tweeted like 10 times this morning, so it'll be interesting to see how many other tweets they put out and said, oh, this also didn't go live. It'll go live in the coming days.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if they'll just go into the patch notes, retroactively change something and not mention it. Which they did actually for this patch as well. They said PDSs now don't open buy stations. That was in the patch notes right when they released them, but then they changed it before today to say now they do open buy stations. So
yeah,
if something we went over didn't actually get fixed, and then you go in the patch notes and look for yourself, and it's just not there in the bug fixes section, we didn't lie to you, they did. So keep that in mind. And they did that for this patch and the last one we went over. I don't remember what it was about, but we talked about it. So keep all of those things inside of your mind. Now, before we go, we do have some announcements. We will obviously keep you guys posted. For our patrons, we will be recording a bonus episode on Thursday with our season 2 review first impressions type deal. So we'll be able to talk more about the meta. We'll know more about the meta by then. And also how the game feels, some unintended bugs or new weirdness as a result of the patch that we don't know about until we play it. Other, bug fixes they say they fixed but didn't. We'll talk about those as well, and just the game in general. The cheating situation, by the way, I expect cheaters to be exactly the same, maybe a little better for the next week, hopefully, but I mean, I don't expect it to last at all, so we'll keep you guys posted on that. And that should be coming out on probably Saturday morning. And then for the rest of you, for non-patrons, I will be out of town on Saturday, but we will be putting a pre-recorded episode live for you, an Avalon flyover review. Avalon is the next BR map we will be getting after Verdansk, so probably with the next integration. You were able to fly over and look at all of it in multiplayer on launch of BO6, and it had a bunch of publicity at the time. We had never gone over it, so we figured that would be a good one to put out publicly. So I really enjoyed it, by the way, and that map looks fantastic, but you guys should go watch that. It'll be premiering, so it'll be kind of basically live on our YouTube, and that's in the schedule. And then next week we'll be back to talk more about stuff, and hopefully they've changed a lot in the next week, because they obviously have more work to do. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. So before we go, Sean J, our newest gold patron, welcome, big dog, even though your name is spelled wrong. Thank you very much, King. You are a god amongst men, and we welcome you. Yeah, so the Patreon, the next, by the way, that season 2 review Patreon episode, that's gonna have a lot of helpful information, especially if you're waiting on whether or not you should come back to Warzone. Is Warzone back?
Yeah.
That's the earliest we will know, or we will talk about. So if you're a patron, listen to it to decide. If you're not, fucking become one. Patreon.com/thedropshot. We hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. We will be back on Saturday / next week. Activision devs so obviously do fucking not play their own game, as evidenced by the effete, ineffectual gas grenade nerf cringe.
Warzone is back.